So let's start with a big question. What if the opposite of deconstruction isn't, just pretending you don't have doubts? What if it's actually about learning how to doubt, but as a disciple of Jesus? So many people feel trapped, like they have only two choices: deconstruct and leave the faith, or just quiet your questions and fake it. But there is a third way. To really get why this matters so much, we have to start with this number: 1 million. That's a staggering estimate of how many young people are leaving the US church every single year. It's this quiet exodus happening all around us. And this chart, it kind of pinpoints the exact moment it happens. One study found that regular church attendance just plummets. It drops from 69% at age 17 all the way down to just 40% by age 19. That 2-year window right after high school, that's where so much changes. And hey, this isn't just some one-off study. Research from Lifeway actually shows that about 2/3 of young adults who were regular churchgoers as teens, they'll stop attending for at least a whole year. This isn't some fringe issue, it is a major trend. So all of this data brings us right back to that core question. When you're wrestling with your faith, do you really have to choose between leaving it all behind or just pretending? The answer is no. There is another way. And it's really the difference between taking a wrecking ball to your faith or beginning a careful renovation. Okay, so let's dig into that. Let's compare these two totally different paths: the demolition of deconstruction versus the renovation of discipleship. All right, so what are we even talking about when we say deconstruction? Well, in this context, it's that whole process of rethinking your faith. But here's the crucial difference. It often begins after you've decided to set the Bible aside as the standard. And that one distinction, it changes everything. And this is where you can really see the split. Deconstruction often puts you, your feelings, your reason, over Scripture. You become the final judge. Discipleship, on the other hand, puts you under Scripture, recognizing Christ as the true Lord. See the difference? One path puts you at the center, the other puts him at the center. And the outcomes? One ends up as a pile of bricks, while the other builds a solid house on the rock. But we have to be super clear about something here. Doubt itself is not the enemy, not at all. Doubt isn't a rejection of faith. It's just a lack of certainty. Think about it. You can only doubt something you still care about, right? So in a way, it kind of proves that some part of you is still in there, fighting to hold on. And that leads us to this really, really important distinction between doubt and unbelief. Doubt is a struggle of the mind, that wrestling with questions. Unbelief, though, that's a decision of the will. It's actively choosing to walk away. So please, don't let your questions become an exit ramp. Let them be a shovel that helps you dig deeper to find the truth. You know, this famous cry from a father in the Bible, it's the perfect picture of what honest doubt looks like. It's not a statement of rejection, it's a prayer. He's bringing his struggle to God, not using it as an excuse to leave him. This has been a part of the faith journey for thousands of years. So if we're choosing renovation over demolition, how do we know we're on the right path? Well, let's look at 3 key marks of a healthy, discipleship-focused way of dealing with our questions. Okay, mark number 1, authority. And the question is simple: who has the final say? In deconstruction, it's usually me. I get to decide what parts of the faith I'm going to keep. But in discipleship, Jesus decides. It really all boils down to this one question you have to ask yourself. Am I trying to correct the Bible, or am I letting the Bible correct me? All right, mark number 2 is community. Deconstruction often thrives in isolation, or, in those online echo chambers. Discipleship, though, stays plugged in. It stays connected to a local church and to 2,000 years of Christian history. You got to ask yourself this: if the only people you trust are those who have already left the faith, are you really researching, or are you just drifting? And finally, mark number 3, direction. Just where is this path leading you? Deconstruction often drifts further and further away from Jesus and the core of the gospel. But discipleship, even through the struggles, always moves you toward Christ and toward trust in him. So the real question isn't, do I have doubts? It's, where is this journey taking me? So knowing the difference is one thing, but what do you actually do when you're in the middle of it, walking through the dark? Let's talk about 3 practical steps forward. First, bring your doubts into the light. Talk to a pastor or a mentor you trust. Demolition is fueled by secrets and isolation. Renovation is fueled by community. Second, ask ancient questions. Instead of just asking, how do I feel about this? Ask, what has the church historically believed? Let your doubt drive you to study, not just to scroll. And third, obey to see. Faith is a walk, not just a feeling. And sometimes the clarity you're searching for only comes after you take that next step of faithful obedience. So keep walking with him even as you wrestle. At the end of the day, this isn't some abstract debate. This is your life. And this is the question you have to answer. Will you let your doubts become a force that pulls you away from Christ? Or will you use them as fuel to dig deeper and be led back to him on an even stronger foundation? And please know you are not alone in this. There is a whole community of believers walking this path with you. But the most important thing to remember is this: bring your pain, bring your confusion, bring all of your questions to Jesus. He's not afraid of them. He is the only one strong enough to carry them, and he's the only one who can lead you through to the other side.